Right now, as you watch this video, there is a sealed stone door sitting inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Nobody has opened it in 4,500 years. Robots have reached it. Scientists have photographed it. Egypt's most famous archaeologist has stood in front of cameras and promised the world that what lies behind it will, and I am quoting him directly, rewrite a chapter in the history of the pharaohs. And most people have absolutely no idea this is happening. You have seen pictures of the Great Pyramid your entire life. You have heard it described as one of the most studied structures on Earth. You probably assumed that by now, in the age of satellites and particle physics and artificial intelligence imaging, we basically know what is inside it. We do not. And what we have found in just the last 8 years, not through digging, not through breaking anything open, but through technology borrowed from nuclear physics, has quietly shattered everything Egyptologists thought they knew about the interior of this building. Stay with me, because this story is stranger and more exciting than anything you have been taught. Let us start with what you probably do know and get it out of the way quickly. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 before Christ for the pharaoh Khufu, second king of Egypt's 4th dynasty. It took roughly 20 years to construct. It used approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, averaging 2.5 tons each, with the largest granite beams inside, weighing up to 80 tons, transported from quarries as far as 500 miles away, primarily down the Nile on wooden boats. It originally stood 481 feet tall, making it the tallest structure built by human hands for nearly 4,000 years. Until the Eiffel Tower went up in 1889, it is the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. Those are the facts everyone recites, but here is the thing nobody tells you right after reciting them. Despite being one of the most studied buildings in human history, we still do not have consensus on how it was built. We do not know who Khufu really was as a person. The only confirmed image of him that survives is a tiny ivory figurine barely 3 inches tall, which is almost comically small given the monument he left behind. And most importantly, we have never found his body. The king's chamber, deep inside the pyramid where Khufu was supposedly buried, contains a large granite sarcophagus. When explorers first entered that chamber, the sarcophagus was empty. No mummy, no treasures, no explanation. Just a stone box sitting in a stone room at the heart of the most elaborate tomb ever constructed. Where is Khufu? That question has been sitting unanswered for centuries, and the discoveries of the last 8 years suggest the answer might still be inside the pyramid, in a room nobody has seen since the day it was sealed. Here is where it gets genuinely fascinating, and it starts with particle physics. Muons, if you are not familiar with them, here is what you need to know. Cosmic rays from deep space slam into Earth's upper atmosphere and produce a constant shower of these subatomic particles that pass straight through almost everything. Right now, as you are watching this, thousands of muons are passing harmlessly through your body. They pass through stone too, but stone slows them down slightly. Empty space does not, which means if you put muon detectors inside a pyramid and measure which directions the particles are moving fastest, you can see through the walls, not with X-rays, not with ground-penetrating radar, with the universe itself. A team of physicists and archaeologists called the Scan Pyramids Project started doing exactly this in 2015. By 2017, they announced the first major discovery. There was something inside the Great Pyramid that nobody knew about. They called it the Big Void, a large empty space sitting directly above the Grand Gallery, the famous ascending corridor inside the pyramid that leads toward the king's chamber. The Big Void was at minimum 30 meters long, with a cross-section roughly comparable to the Grand Gallery itself. It was confirmed independently by 3 separate teams using 3 completely different muon detection technologies, published in the journal Nature, the first major structure discovered inside the Great Pyramid since the 19th century, and nobody knew what it was. The researchers were careful and honest about that. They did not claim it was a hidden burial chamber. They did not claim it was anything at all, except empty space in a place where, according to everything archaeologists previously understood about the pyramid's construction, there should not be empty space. Debates broke out immediately. Some argued it was a construction void, an intentional empty space built to relieve structural pressure on the Grand Gallery below. Others suggested it might be an undiscovered chamber, sealed and hidden behind the architecture. Nobody could say for certain. No one had been inside it. No one had even gotten close. Then came March 2nd, 2023. Egypt's Minister of Tourism held a press conference at the base of the pyramid. Standing in the shadow of the structure itself, he announced the discovery of a previously unknown corridor on the north face of the pyramid. 9 meters long, 2 meters wide, 2 meters tall. Sitting about 17 meters above the ground, directly above the pyramid's main entrance, hidden behind a structure of angled limestone blocks called a chevron, a pattern of stones arranged like an upside-down V that archaeologists had noticed for decades without understanding its full purpose. The corridor was found using the same moon imaging technology, combined with ground-penetrating radar and infrared thermography. Then, in February 2023, scientists inserted an endoscope, a tiny flexible camera on a long tube, through a small opening in the chevron stones and got the first direct photographs of the interior. The walls were unfinished, rough limestone. As one researcher noted, the unfinished walls suggested the corridor was never meant to be seen. It was not a public-facing part of the building. It was hidden inside the structure itself. At the far end of the corridor, the endoscope revealed something that immediately made headlines among the relatively small community of people who actually follow Egyptology news. 2 large limestone slabs, blocking further entry. A door. Now let me give you a moment to sit with that. For 4,500 years, while the pyramids were excavated, argued over, mapped, theorized about, measured to the millimeter, and visited by roughly 14 million tourists every year, this corridor existed, sealed, untouched, waiting. The stones around it bear no tool marks on the outer face, no inscriptions, no carvings, no indication visible from the outside that anything was there at all. The ancient Egyptians built it, hid it inside the chevron structure, and sealed it. And then the pharaoh died, the workers dispersed, and 45 centuries rolled by. And here is where the story gets urgent. Egypt's most prominent Egyptologist, Dr. Zahi Hawass, who has spent decades excavating at Giza and is arguably the most recognized name in the field, announced in late 2025 that robots have now reached a second, deeper corridor, 30 meters long, also ending at a sealed door, also untouched for 4,500 years. The contents behind that door, he told a crowd at the Sharjah International Book Fair, will be revealed to the world in 2026. His exact words, "A great archaeological discovery that will write a new chapter in the history of the pharaohs." We are living right now in the moment before that door opens. So what is actually behind it? Nobody knows for certain. But let us walk through what archaeologists are seriously considering, because the possibilities range from technically interesting to historically world-altering. The most conservative theory is that these corridors and voids are structural, weight-relieving spaces built by ancient engineers to distribute the enormous mass of the pyramid above and prevent collapse. The Great Pyramid is 5.75 million tons of stone. Managing that weight over millennia required extraordinary engineering, and the known relief chambers above the king's chamber, hollow spaces stacked above the burial room, proved the Egyptians understood this problem and built solutions into the structure intentionally. Under this theory, the newly found corridors are more of the same. Impressive, historically significant, but not a tomb. The second theory is more compelling. Some researchers believe the corridor could lead to a chamber related to the construction process itself, a repository of tools, records, or materials used during the building of the pyramid, sealed away when the work was complete. The oldest known papyrus in the world, discovered in 2013 at a site called Wadi al-Jarf, is a logbook written by an inspector named Merer, who personally supervised the transportation of limestone blocks to Giza. That papyrus survived 4,500 years. The thought that sealed chambers inside the pyramid might contain similar records or more is not remotely far-fetched, but the third theory is the one that would change everything. Khufu's mummy has never been found. His sarcophagus in the king's chamber was empty when first explored. Ancient sources, including the Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, recorded legends claiming Khufu was not actually buried in his pyramid, that the true burial location was hidden elsewhere within the structure to protect against tomb robbers, who were a constant threat even in antiquity. French Egyptologists who conducted radar analysis on the pyramid in 2004 proposed that the interior had been rearranged multiple times during construction, with each chamber deemed insufficient and a new plan adopted, leaving earlier spaces sealed behind the final architecture. If the sealed door at the end of that 30-meter corridor opens into an undisturbed royal burial chamber, intact funerary objects, wall paintings, and potentially the preserved remains of the pharaoh who built the last surviving wonder of the ancient world, it would be the greatest archaeological discovery since Howard Carter broke through into Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Bigger, arguably, because Khufu was a more significant figure than Tutankhamun, and the pyramid is a more significant monument than any tomb in the Valley of the Kings. There is one more thing about this pyramid that I think deserves a moment because it never gets talked about in the way it should. The Great Pyramid was built by paid workers, not slaves. We know this now because in 1990, a horse stumbled into a hole near the Giza plateau and revealed a previously unknown cemetery. The workers who built the pyramid were buried there with offerings and inscriptions, the way Egyptians buried people they considered to have died with honor. Analysis of the skeletons showed healed fractures, injuries that had been treated and allowed to recover, meaning these workers received medical care on the job. Food remains in the area showed they were fed well, with beef, fish, and bread in quantities that suggest organized state-level provisioning. If you divide 2.3 million stone blocks by a 20-year construction period, working 10 hours a day and 300 days a year, you get roughly one block placed every 2.5 minutes, around the clock, for 2 decades, by a workforce of perhaps 20,000 people who were fed, housed, and cared for on the plateau. And somewhere in the middle of that extraordinary human effort, they sealed a corridor and told nobody. Or perhaps they told the pharaoh, and the pharaoh took the secret to his grave, which, if the third theory is correct, might be exactly where we are about to find it. The Great Pyramid has stood for 4,500 years. Empires have risen and collapsed in its shadow. The ancient Greeks came to look at it and left barely able to describe what they were seeing. Napoleon stood at its base and, according to one account, emerged from a solo visit to the king's chamber, visibly shaken, and refused to say what he had experienced inside. Every generation that has encountered this building has been convinced it held secrets. Every generation has been right. And this year, right now, while you are going about your daily life, a robot is sitting at the end of a 30-meter corridor inside the most famous building in human history, waiting in front of a sealed stone door. What is behind it? We are about to find out. If you are interested in more such mysteries, subscribe to this channel.